There's a couple of people that worked for the elections that were like, there's nothing wrong with those voting machines. Paper ballots, my friends. This is the biggest battle we're going to have to fight because we have these idiot Pollyannas out there that think that everything's up and it's safe and nobody would rig the election and nobody would rig the voting cards. Anyway, you'll see this one. It says Ron Paul vote fraud and stuff like that on it, but it's not. It's Ron Paul isn't mentioned on it at all. Women are crying because they realize that the vote is rigged in the United States. Now, when we talk about vote rigging and election fraud, it's not so much people paying Mexicans or illegal immigrants to go down with no ID and vote twice or something, and then move to another precinct and vote again. That's actually pretty rare in the United States. That's true, and the mainstream media tries to confuse you with thinking that that kind of vote fraud is rare. But flipping the votes, very common, as the Ron Paul people found out firsthand. If you were paying attention, you see the votes flipped over and over again in election after election. Everywhere where they used voting machines, Ron Paul did poorly. Everywhere where they did paper ballots, Ron Paul did pretty well. And sometimes he was the number one. Oh, gee whiz. And people still don't get it. It's amazing. That is the main thing. The main thing when it comes to restoring the democracy or restoring this republic is not... anyway, birth control or gay marriage. The number one thing is getting the paper ballots back. Darn it. And see, this is the thing. This whole Chick-fil-A... Notice how I stayed nice and quiet through all of that. That whole chicken sandwiches and gay marriage and this and that. More of this. More, hey, look at this. Hey, the Federal Reserve, they won't even talk about LIBOR, but they'll sure put stories about chicken restaurants on the news and whatever pop star is doing whatever that, but to tell you that you're getting ripped off by the bankers and that they can't find enough evidence to even prosecute Goldman Sachs for the fraud. And see, they'll just call it fraud. It's crimes. It's criminal wrongdoing. And these guys need to go to jail. These guys need to get prosecuted, investigated, then prosecuted, and the wheels of justice need to turn in our criminal justice system that works actually pretty well sometimes if you actually allow it to work. But if you've got a president and a administration and a Justice Department and Attorney General that won't even investigate these fraudulent bastards who are ripping you off and going to make it so that your pensions get ripped off, your counties and municipalities go bankrupt. You can't get a decent rate of return on your money than any kind of safe response or any kind of safe investment. You'll find that these guys are 100% responsible for people going under, for bankruptcies, for people committing suicide, for people starving to death. They're 100% responsible for crashing the economy. And our president is like, they didn't do anything wrong. May have been immoral, but they didn't do anything wrong. And I'm not going to invest. And Goldman Sachs, by the way, is not working there, Barry, because Goldman Sachs, it turns out, is giving all their money to, the employees anyway, are giving their money to Romney and Ryan. Then notice how Romney picks he hasn't even won. Do we have a convention? You sons of bitch. Do we have a convention? We haven't had a convention yet as I make this video. And yet he's picking up, the candidate, and basically he considers himself de facto winner, right? Okay, what you guys need to do also on this is let people know that there hasn't been a convention and that all the delegates in the convention are free to vote their conscience. Right? And then here's another thing. If you want to, donate $5 or $10 because the money bombs are over, but if you want to donate $5 or $10 to the lawyers for Ron Paul, $5 or $10 to the lawyers for Ron Paul, that might be a good thing because legal fees actually are pretty expensive, and these guys are doing it pro se. Also, a lot of the other things that were the hanky panky that they talked about, right? The shenanigans, as the mainstream media said, has not been prosecuted or brought to court of law either, and that's going to be costly. And these lawyers for Ron Paul are doing it for free, and it actually costs money to get things notarized and file court documents and so forth. So if you wanted to help out the cause that way, you could still donate $5 or $10. Probably the money, and that's why I say $5 or $10. $5 or $10 is nothing. Hundreds of dollars, don't be given hundreds. If you're going to hundreds of dollars, you need to buy silver dimes, buy silver coins, because my friends, this thing is gonna crash. It's just a matter of time. It is mathematically certain that we're going to have a serious disruption. Salente and a few other people talk about depression worse. I mean, we're already in a pretty bad recession depression. most of the, I mean, a good portion of the country, probably 50%, is feeling the pain right now. But the other 50% is about to feel the pain. And, excuse me. And when wealthy people that have a couple of $100,000 a year in income or salary, not income. Let's say they get paid. Let's put it that way, or they earn 100,000 or more a year. They're thinking they're all good, right? They're thinking everything's fine, and they're gonna just wait, and everything is not fine. Wealthy Argentinians found out what happens when the economy goes bust. Same thing in Yugoslavia and Bosnia and all these other places. Like Africa, lots of countries find out what happens when the economy goes to heck. And we're going to find out what happens when it happens all at once on the planet, all at the same time. These are pretty exciting times to be living in, because there is fiat currency in every country on the planet. There is no sound money anywhere. Watching the Eurozone, this slow motion train wreck that is the Eurozone, is fascinating. Because we look across the pond and we think it's not going to happen here, and I guarantee you it's coming to a city and country near you soon. I assume that you're an American because I look at my stats and I see that mostly it's the United States that watches these videos, so you, all 500 of you. People are saying that I should ask you guys for a small donation to get to Tampa, because seriously, if everybody just gave me $5, I could easily go, right? That would be airfare and a place to stay and a car and all that kind of stuff. But instead, I'm not. Don't send me money. I don't want money. Instead, I've fomented a plot where these people are gonna film their adventure. They're gonna drive from California into Phoenix, I believe, or Arizona, and then drive all the way across the country into Tampa and go to the convention. Like 4 guys in a car. Well, actually, 1 woman and 4 guys in a car, maybe 5 guys in a car. And I was going to be part of this, but I can't do it. But anyway, those should be YouTube videos that I will certainly link.